Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. How are you? I hope you all are fine. So, the name of the chapter is Atmosphere and Environment, and today's topics are acid rain, flue gas desulfurization, and the enhanced greenhouse effect. Introduction to acid rain. Dear students, you must have known already about the acid rain, and you know that in the air there is present carbon dioxide. About 0.03% is carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And normal rainwater is always slightly acidic because carbon dioxide is present in atmosphere, and when it is dissolved in the water, carbonic acid is formed. Normal acidity of rainwater is 5.6. So the normal, even the normal rainwater, it is slightly acidic and its pH is 5.6 due to the presence of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Now, this is carbon dioxide, and when it reacts with water, it forms carbonic acid dissolved in water. This is aqueous. This is a normal process. But nowadays, because of more pollution and vehicles and factories, now a large amount of pollutants are being released in the environment, like sulfur dioxide, SO2, nitrogen dioxide, NO2. These gases are pollutants, and they are rapidly releasing into the atmosphere. So sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide, these are the two main gases, main pollutants which are responsible for the acid rain. Now, when these pollutants are present in the atmosphere, then the pH of rain is further lowered to as about 2.4. Now this rainwater is highly acidic because of these two gases. Because when sulfur dioxide it is dissolved in water, it forms sulfuric acid, which is very concentrated acid and with very strong acid. Then nitrogen dioxide, when it is dissolved in rainwater, it forms nitric acid. So the rain becomes highly acidic, and its pH about drops to about 2.4, and this type of precipitation means rain, is called as acid rain. Acid rain is due to the presence of sulfuric acid, nitric acid, and carbonic acid. Acid rain is rain that has been made acidic by certain pollutants in the air mixing with water in the air. Now, the main pollutants are sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide. Causes of acid rain. There are two main causes of acid rain. Some are natural causes, some are anthropogenic causes. Anthropogenic means man-made, the causes that are due to the human activities. Natural causes, volcanic emissions, biological process like decaying process, and so many other processes are already taking place naturally in the environment. Lightning. So these are the natural sources. Now, anthropogenic causes, factories, because nowadays there is industrialization, motor vehicles, automobile exhaust, coal-based power plants, the power plants where coal is burnt, domestic fires, smelters. Smelters are smelting means to heat the ore to be converted into its metal. So smelters, you can say, they are the kilns. Smelters are the plants where ores are heated at high temperature. Now, this is water. Clouds, these are the clouds which are formed due to evaporation of water. And this is nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide pollutants. These gases are the pollutants, and they are emitting from the factories, from the plants, from those they are emitting from those power stations which are run by burning fossil fuels. So when these gases they are dissolved in water, they form nitric acid HNO3, NO2 when dissolved in water form nitric acid HNO3, and sulfur dioxide when dissolved in this rainwater it becomes sulfuric acid. So when this rain falls on earth, this is highly acidic and this is called acid rain. And these are the trees which are killed by the acid rain. Again, this is emission, factory, automobile, volcano. From these are the sources from which these sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide gases are emitting. Oxidation means addition of oxygen. The vapors in the atmosphere and oxygen in the atmosphere that converts them into their respective acids like sulfuric acid and nitric acid. Now, these sulfuric acid and nitric acid, they are also dissociated into the respective ions, like sulfuric acid is dissociated into hydrogen ions and sulfate ions. Similarly, nitric acid is also dissociated into hydrogen ions and nitrate ions. And these ions are even directly, they deposit on earth, they directly deposit on the earth, and when they are dissolved in water they form acid rain, and then in the form of water they fall on earth. And what are its effects? The effects of acid rain is soil and vegetation. It affects soil, vegetation, inland, aquatic, material, human. These are all the places which are affected by the acid rain. When fossil fuels like coal, natural gas, and oil are burned in industrial processes, automobiles, and power plants, they release two pollutants into the atmosphere, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide, and they are responsible for the acid rain. Now, there are harmful effects of acid rain on the environment. It causes respiratory problems to humans and animals. It destroys marine life. It damages buildings and stone statues. And especially direct effect on plant growth due to toxification of soil. When acid rain falls on the soil, it becomes toxic, and the acid rain takes away soil nutrients, causing stunted growth. Stunted growth means stopped growth, bad growth. They block stomatal pores of leaves. Electron transport system, this is a very important system that takes place in plants, a biochemical reaction, and that is affected by the pH and the acid rain. Degradation of plant chlorophyll. So these are all the effects of acid rain on plants. And many beautiful historic buildings are damaged by acid rain, like Taj Mahal, which is made from marble, calcium carbonate, and due to acid rain, now its color and texture has been changed. Okay. Sulfur dioxide, SO2, is a pollutant, and that is released mainly by fossil fuels powered power station. There are few power stations which are run by burning the fossil fuels, and they release sulfur dioxide in large amount. And sulfur dioxide is responsible for acid rain, and there are many harmful effects of acid rain on plants, animals, everywhere. So the harmful gas released by these power stations, uh, the harmful gas released by these power stations is called flue gas. Flue gas is the overall gas that is released by these power stations, and the flue gas contains mainly SO2, sulfur dioxide. Now, modern power stations are fitted with flue gas desulfurization plants. Desulfurization plants are the plants where sulfur dioxide gas is removed. So modern power stations are fitted with flue gas desulfurization plants to remove sulfur dioxide gas from it. Now, as the flue gas contains sulfur dioxide, so it is passed through desulfurization plants to remove the sulfur dioxide gas that is present in the flue gas. Now, this process is called flue gas desulfurization. There are different methods, but the most common is by using calcium carbonate. You know the formula of calcium carbonate, CaCO3, or calcium hydroxide, CaOH twice. So the most common method is by using calcium carbonate or calcium hydroxide. Now, what happens in this process? Flue gas passes through a slurry. Slurry means paste of finely grounded limestone or calcium hydroxide. Like this flue gas is passed through a paste of calcium carbonate or calcium hydroxide. The sulfur dioxide gas that is present in the flue gas that is reacted with calcium carbonate to form calcium sulfide. This calcium sulfide is further oxidized and it is converted into calcium sulfate. Now, calcium sulfate is used to make plaster of Paris, and there are so many uses of plaster of Paris. And nowadays, especially in the construction industry, this is vastly used. Uh, the sulfur gas desulfurization that we are studying today, this process is called wet flue gas desulfurization. This is wet flue gas desulfurization because in this process, a slurry of calcium carbonate is used and that is sprayed on the flue gas. Now, the process is based on a slurry of slaked lime, like calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide, the paste of calcium hydroxide is sprayed and that reacts with sulfur dioxide and form calcium sulfite and water. Because you know that the oxides of non-metals are acids and this is the hydroxide base. So when acid and base are reacted, salt and water is formed. Or if we use calcium carbonate, we know that when acids, SO2, the oxides of non-metals are acidic. So these are the acids, and when you know that when carbonates are reacted with acids, then salt and carbon dioxide gas is released. So when calcium hydroxide was used, then salt and water was formed. When calcium carbonate is used, then salt and carbon dioxide is formed. This is calcium sulfite. Now, this calcium sulfite reacts with oxygen and oxygen is provided into the plant and that is converted into calcium sulfate. Now, the limestone is a mineral that has to be grounded. Lime is obtained by calcination. Calcination means by heating and by heating the limestone, when calcium carbonate is heated, this process is called calcination. It is converted into calcium oxide. And when calcium oxide is reacted with water, it forms calcium hydroxide. So in wet flue gas desulfurization, either calcium hydroxide or calcium carbonate is used to remove sulfur dioxide from the flue gas. Sulfur dioxide emission can be removed from the flue gases by passing the gases through a suspension of calcium carbonate or calcium oxide in water, which is called calcium oxide is when dissolved in water formed slaked lime or calcium hydroxide, and calcium sulfite is formed, and then this calcium sulfide further reacts with oxygen to form calcium sulfate. And when calcium oxide reacts with sulfur dioxide, again calcium sulfite is formed. This is a flow chart diagram and flue gas desulfurization plant, a flow chart diagram. What does the flue gas desulfurization plant do? It removes sulfur dioxide, it reduces acid rain, and sulfur dioxide or flue gas is injected, and calcium carbonate and water is injected from this side. Now, calcium carbonate in water is sprayed on the flue gas which contains sulfur dioxide, and this is the calcium sulfide which is formed. Now, we have studied these equations in the previous slide, and we know that calcium carbonate reacts with sulfur dioxide to form calcium sulfite and carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide removed through the chimney. And this calcium sulfite, because the air is also injected into this plant, and this calcium sulfite is reacted with oxygen to form calcium sulfate, which is then further used to form plaster of Paris. This is a diagrammatic representation of the tower that is used to desulfurize the flue gas. and flue gas in. This is the place where the flue gas is injected into this tower, and limestone slurry is injected from this side. From here, limestone slurry is injected. From here, flue gas enters, and these are the space from which slurry is sprayed. And slurry means paste of calcium carbonate or calcium hydroxide. And this is the oxidation reactor where air is injected, and purge means waste. The waste is removed from this side, and the flue gas which is now removed from the sulfur dioxide, that goes out. Flue gas out, which is now pure, that has been removed, that has been removed by sulfur dioxide. Now what is this? Do you know what is this? Yes, this is a greenhouse. And greenhouse is covered. Greenhouse has plants, and these plants are covered by glass or plastic sheet. And when the sun rays fall on this plastic or glass, it enters into the greenhouse, and this glass or plastic traps that sunlight in the form of heat and provides a suitable temperature and environment for the plants to grow properly. This is a greenhouse. Similarly, what is greenhouse effect? So, a term used to describe the heating of the atmosphere owing to the presence of carbon dioxide and other gases. Now, carbon dioxide is already present in the environment, and there are so many other gases also. Nowadays, the pollutant gases are also present. So, greenhouse effect means the heating of the atmosphere due to the presence of carbon dioxide and other gases. Without the presence of these gases, heat from the sun would return to space in the form of infrared radiations. Now, this is sun and this is earth. Sun radiations falls on earth and they are absorbed by the earth. Some is absorbed and some is reflected back. Now, when the earth absorbs the radiations of the sun, then it emits it in the form of heat. And the heat waves in the form of infrared radiations, and these infrared radiations have longer wavelengths. Now, when the greenhouse gases are present in the atmosphere, these greenhouse gases trap those infrared radiations and then re-emit them into different angles, and the earth's surface is heated, the environment is heated. This is called greenhouse effect. There are two meanings of this term, greenhouse effect. One of them is natural greenhouse effect, because you know carbon dioxide is already present in the environment, and carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. Another one is man-made greenhouse effect. Natural greenhouse effect basically does is it keeps the earth warm and livable. Natural greenhouse effect is necessary for us to provide a better environment, a warm environment and livable environment. But the man-made greenhouse effect increases the temperature of the atmosphere, and that is harmful. And these greenhouse gases comes from the burning of the fossil fuels such as petroleum, coal and natural gas. These are the greenhouse gases. These gases are responsible for the greenhouse effect because when they are present in the atmosphere, they trap those infrared radiations which are emitted by the earth. Carbon dioxide, CO2, methane, CH4, ozone, O3, because I had told you in the previous lecture that ozone in the troposphere region is not good. Nitrous oxide, N2O, water, even water vapors, H2O. So greater water vapors in the air also causes greater greenhouse effect. Now this is sun, and the radiation of the sun is falling on earth, and solar energy is absorbed at surface. Converted, when this solar energy is absorbed by the earth, it is converted into heat, causing the emission of long wave radiations. Now, this when it is absorbed by the earth, it is converted into heat, and these waves are of longer wavelength. Now, when there is present greenhouse gases, these greenhouse some of the infrared radiations or longer wave radiation, they are lost into the space, but some are again trapped and are again emitted towards the earth. Then again, surface gains more heat and long wavelength radiations is emitted again. Some is again lost to the space, and some are again trapped by the greenhouse gases and again comes to the earth's surface. Then again earth absorb these radiations, then re-emit them in the form of infrared radiations or longer wavelength. Then some is lost into the space, and some is again, because greenhouse gases are present, some are again re-emitted on the earth, and in this way the atmosphere becomes warm, and this is called greenhouse effect. And that greenhouse effect is due to the greenhouse gases that are present in the atmosphere. Again, the greenhouse, some solar radiation is reflected by the earth and the atmosphere. Now, this is the sun's radiations. These are the sun's radiations. These are the radiations of the sun, and they are falling on earth's surface. Most radiation is absorbed by the earth's surface and warms it. So most of the radiations are absorbed by the surface. So some solar radiation reflected by the earth and the atmosphere. Now most of them is absorbed and some is reflected back. Now earth absorbs this radiation and then re-emits it, and when it re-emits, this is called infrared radiation, and this is of longer wavelength. Some of the infrared radiation passes through the atmosphere, some passes through the atmosphere and goes into the space. However, some is absorbed and re-emitted in all directions by greenhouse gas molecules. The effect of this is to warm the Earth's surface and the lower atmosphere. So the effect is that the Earth's surface and the lower atmosphere is warmed up. The same diagram, some solar radiation reflected by Earth and the atmosphere. Most of them are absorbed, some is reflected. These infrared radiations emitted from the Earth's surface, they are again trapped by the greenhouse gases, again reaches the Earth, and this way the atmosphere and the Earth's surface becomes warm, and this is called greenhouse effect. Some of the infrared radiation passes through the atmosphere, some is absorbed by greenhouse gases and re-emitted in all directions by the atmosphere. The effect of this is to warm the Earth's surface and the lower atmosphere. So basically, the principle is that when the sun's radiations falls on the Earth's surface, most of the radiations are absorbed by the Earth, and the Earth then again emit these radiations in the form of infrared radiations of longer wavelengths. Some is lost into the space. However, some are trapped by the greenhouse gases, and they are again injected towards the earth, and this is called the greenhouse effect, and resulting in the increase in earth's increase in the temperature of the atmosphere and earth's surface. Sun, earth, atmosphere containing too much greenhouse gas. When there is too much greenhouse, when there are so much greenhouse gases present in the atmosphere, then there will be larger greenhouse effect, more greenhouse effect, which will result in greater temperature of the earth and the atmosphere. And a particular term is used which is called global warming, and global warming is a side effect of enhanced greenhouse effect. What are the disadvantages of greenhouse effect? Number one, summers will be warmer with natural disasters. Summers will be warmer, and natural disasters will occur because the climate, the weather will not be normal. The second side effect is that water level balance on the earth will get disturbed. Third, life and ecosystem will get disturbed when water level will not be balanced, when summers will be warmer, then automatically the life and ecosystem will also get disturbed. Then it will also affect the weather pattern, like rainfall will become erratic in many parts of the world. Erratic mean irregular, extreme, and the most common side effect of greenhouse effect is the global warming. Global warming is defined as the increase in the average temperature of the earth due to the accumulation of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The most harmful greenhouse gases in the atmosphere are water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, chlorofluorocarbons, and hydrofluorocarbons. So these are the greenhouse gases, and they are the pollutants, and when they are present in larger amounts, then there will be greater greenhouse effect and greater will be the global warming. Effect of global warming and greenhouse effect is seen in the rising sea levels that can in turn cause floods and harm the aquatic life. Dear students, I hope you have understood today's concept. Thank you so much, and please do reading of your book. Wish you best of luck. Allah Hafiz.